This is Shane Sparks at 4390 Bitterroot. It is 4/7/2026. It's currently 45 degrees with a north wind blowing at 8 miles per hour. Here I have marked out north, east, west, and we will be working on the south slope. Today, our control area has been outlined. We're just going to assess how the current condition is on this. The granule hold, just lightly brushing. We do see some minimal granule loss as we're just kind of brushing over the shingle, which all the granules should be holding tight right now, which it appears that they are for the most part. I'm going to go through and just test the little teeth on these shingles. Everything appears to be sealed tight, just as the manufacturer intended. So we're here today to assess the repairability condition of these shingles and assess if any damage arises from trying to manipulate the shingles over here. So our current condition on this roof in the undamaged areas is fairly well. So as we move over here, we have X marked. This damaged shingle is marked in between the two tarps where repairs are going to have to take place here, as instructed by the insurance carrier. Now currently, for every one shingle that needs to be taken out and removed, the 8 surrounding as well all have to have some sort of manipulation occur to them. So we're going to start by breaking the seal on our subject shingle X by breaking the seal in this shingle X onto 2 and then X onto 1, and then the first set of fasteners in X shingle are through this first course here, which lay under shingle 5 and shingle 6 as seen here. The second set of fasteners are actually in shingle 5 and shingle 6, which will require the sealant bond from 8 to 6, 8 to 5, and 7 to 5 to be broken in order to gain access to those, to then remove them, to properly remove the shingle and then replace it. So currently our pre-existing condition as seen on this on system in the control area is fairly well, but just in our work area we're going to see that we do have some chipping that's occurred here. We're going to go through. We do have some unsealing, some improper installation, lapping of the shingles is occurring here as well. But for the most part, everything else, shingle 4 is unsealed a little bit, as well as shingle 6. Seen 2 is partially unadhered as well. Shingle X also partially unadhered. Shingle 1, we do have some extra sealant and fasteners that have been sealed down, appearing from a previous repair attempt, it looks like. And their repair method was to seal everything and hammer the shingles back down. So we're going to start with breaking the seal on shingle X from shingles 1 and shingles 2. I'm going to start with my preferred tool, Cloverine flat bar. If I feel any any hard stops when I'm trying to break this sealant on the shingle, I will switch to a flat putty knife or putty spatula, and I'll try to break the seal with that using a flatter surface. So from here we're going to go ahead and start breaking the seals on shingle X. We're not going to be applying a great amount of pressure, just enough to break the seals and move through this as instructed. So that seal just gave. You can kind of hear the shingle break, getting not too much force. So that's just working through the mat or the sealant. Alright, that one's a little hard there. So switch out to our flat putty knife and see if we can get through that any easier. Again, just trying to break the seals on shingle X so we can properly remove and replace it as instructed by the insurance carrier. Okay. So, the sealant strip from X onto 2 and X onto 1 has been broken. We're going to start our photo documentation now. So we're just going to lift up the shingle slightly and check for any mat transfer or damage to any of the shingles, showing that it cannot be repaired. So we do have mat transfer that can be seen, and you notice the mat transfer from the fiberglass fibers that you see within the shingle. Sealant and sealant transfer do not have fiberglass fibers woven throughout it, and that's a huge chunk of mat that was torn out. I don't know if the video can see that, but I got photos of it. So there's more damage there, there's more damage there. If you can see that mat transfer right there. Also, a low nail was driven into shingle 2. So shingle X has now been unsealed. We're going to bounce up to shingle 5 and start unsealing shingle 5 from shingle X. And again, just slowly move through this using the National Academy of Forensic Engineers repairability methodology. Alright, so that shingle pops up. Again, we're using proper care and technique when removing this, and you can see there's no aggressive motions or anything when breaking these seals. It's just this mat transfer keeps occurring into shingle 5 as well. So there is mat transfer into 5 as well. So from the mat transfer that occurred down on shingle 2, shingle 2 had asphalt ripped out of its mat from the X shingle, jeopardizing this shingle 2's integrity. Shingle 2 will have to be replaced along with shingle X that's already slated for repair as well, due to the mat transfer that just occurred from 5 onto X. 5 will need to be removed and replaced. The mat transfer jeopardizes the sealant bond from the new shingle to the old shingle, as well as jeopardizing the mandated rating that's designated by the manufacturer, or mandated from the manufacturer, as well as Ohio Building Code. These manufacturers have to meet certain ratings for these shingles to be installed correctly. Now, if the rating has been jeopardized and the shingle's been jeopardized, then this shingle is no longer a code compliant shingle to be left on the roofing system, nor does it meet the requirements for a proper repair. So now we have to remove the damaged shingles. Moving from 5, we'll go down to 6 and unseal 6. We just have to unseal a little of it to gain access to this first set of fasteners within there. So we're gonna grab some more photo documentation just as we move through. Boom, 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 boom. And we did experience mat tearing from And that did pull mat from shingle 4 onto shingle 6, meaning that both shingle 6 and shingle 4 are jeopardized and now require replacement. So now we're going to bounce to the next set of fasteners that is holding down shingle X, which is in 8 and 7. So we're going to bounce up, we're going to start unsealing 8. Okay, meeting with some force right now, so I'm going to switch to the flat spatula. I'm just going to, oh, and that just gave, ripped up, caused a nail pull through in shingle 8, which I'll just mark in P, and it had other fasteners holding it down above and beyond what was required. So this sealant is just welded shingle 8 to shingle, what would that have been, 5? Okay, so it seemed to be unsealed in the middle here. Now we're just gonna keep working down. All right, so shingle 8 has now been unsealed, and check for any mat transfer, which did occur all throughout this shingle. No mat transfer in the middle, just some old sealant, and then more mat transfer down at the bottom here. All right, so due to that damage, shingle 8 will need replaced as well. Empty, empty. Empty. All right, so from there we can start pulling fasteners out of shingle X. Okay, so we can see it's a tear when trying to remove the shingle or remove one of the fasteners. The damaged shingle tore. Alright, that's one fastener. Two. One more improperly installed right on the keyway. So all right, our first set of fasteners have been removed. Now our second set will be, oh no, I didn't unseal 7. All right, let's unseal 7 real quick. All right. 7 will need replaced as well due to all of the mat transfer that's currently through there. Let's get this cap now out of the way. Nail pull through on 5. One more there, and then 1 and 8, or 1 and 6 under 8. Should be all of the fasteners from shingle X. Maybe not. All right. You can see all of the granules. You can see all of the chunks of mat that were ripped out during this repair process, and then you can see the fiberglass within that, showing that it is indeed mat transfer, not just sealant transfer. Sealant transfer is not damaging to the shingle. Mat transfer does damage the shingle's integrity and would leave the house in a jeopardized state if not addressed while the repair was being done. So as you can see here, egregious mat transfer occurred all throughout this shingle just from removing it and attempting to get this out. We have, out of 8 shingles, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 shingles in total were damaged, meaning if we extrapolate that across the entire roofing system, we're gonna have to repair the majority of the shingles in order to spot repair 1. So now we're gonna take the shingle and we'll put it back in just like we were doing a regular repair to see the full life cycle of this repair and how the system would react. So we're gonna slip our shingle back into place. We now will need to drive fasteners back through X and back through 5 and 6. And according to the manufacturer's instructions, we must drive a flush fastener. It doesn't matter about the angle of the shingle or anything like that. The the fastener must be driven flush in within the nailing zone. So whatever that angle is the appropriate angle if it's driving a flush fastener. So we're going to start with shingle 6. We're just going to raise this up. We're going to identify where we withdrew the nails. Again, this one's right in the keyway. We are going to move it at least an inch, inch and a half over, and that is within the nailing zone there, so I have to be able to raise that this high to drive a flush fastener. Alright, now we're going to start driving fasteners in shingle 5. Again, to drive a flush fastener, I got to lift it up that high. Now we're on shingle 7. Again, flush fastener. We have a nail pull through on 7 as well. Drive a flush fastener, you have to raise it this high. Perfect. One more fastener within shingle 7. Again, for a flush fastener, you have to raise it this high. Alright, we'll start driving shingles back through shingle X. Alright, one more fastener and shingle X. Oh, didn't work. Alright. Now we're just gonna some light brushing. We're gonna see any creasing occur as well to add to the unrepairability factor of this. No, but there are a ton of granules as we see from this repair being done. Due to all of the damages that formed while attempting this repair, by unsealing the shingles, removing and putting a shingle back in place, spot repairs are not warranted or suggested on this system. There's no code compliant manner or manufacturer instructions that would allow for this replacement to be done without fully replacing the slope, so that you have a good solid bond between the shingles. The damages that formed, again, damaged the ASTM rating of these shingles, making them no longer code compliant and unusable on this roofing system. Thank you.